You're rated 400 at chess. What opening should you be playing? Well, go over to the Lichess database, toggle on your 400 rating, and you're all set to go. So with white, on average, you win 50% of your games. Black wins 46% of the games. But what are the best opening choices that you can make? So all of the openings are pretty standard and straightforward. You don't get too crazy deviations. So actually, e4 is my recommendation here. They're going to play e5. And the first couple of moves are the most common faced, knight f3, knight c6. And now if we look at it here, you've got a couple of options. Knight c4 gets you to 52. My recommendation is going to be the Scotch with d4. You're going to see e takes d, you're going to take back with your knight, is the most played move. You're going to play bishop out to c4. The Scotch gambit. And usually gambits are unsound according to the engine, but in practice work pretty well. Here actually the engine doesn't mind it, it still says this game is level, and actually it gives white more of a fighting chance, winning 55% compared to 43 for black. So black's going to play knight f6, and now you can go ahead and take the pawn in the middle with knight takes d4, but actually the most interesting move is e5, and this is the line that the engine likes the most, is e5. Knight e4 is going to be what you're going to see here. And then you've got a couple of moves. Engine likes queen e2 the most, and that gives you a 6% win rate. But even in castling here is good enough with a 59% win rate. So, and then you can see from here, look at the most played move again, bishop c5. You're winning 64% of these games. So eventually you're going to win this pawn back. It's difficult for black to hold on to it. And if we just kind of toggle through just to get an idea of how this pans out, rook e1, d5. And then now, yeah, you can start to see engine starting to spike up at plus 3.4, so something like en passant, and then this knight is in all kinds of trouble for trying to defend it and hang on to it. So that's my recommendation with white. What should you play with the black pieces? So most of the time you're going to face e4, and looking at the database, a couple of things stand out. c6, the Caro-Kann, gets you a 50% win rate, but kind of diving into the first couple of moves, it doesn't seem to get any better than a kind of level 50-50. Whereas something that's quite interesting is playing the Sicilian with c5. So most of the time white goes into the open Sicilian with knight f3. And then d6 is the line that I like here, or e6, one of these two pawn pushes. We're going to go for e6 because you get a slightly better win rate. They're going to play d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4. And here, knight c6, knight takes, and you're going to take back with your b pawn. So you're starting to see the win rate starting to creep up a bit more for black now. And after knight c3 and d5, we're really starting to do well. So they're going to take, and you're going to take back with your c pawn. And in this position, you've got a good control of the centre. They've not got any central pawns. You're winning 55% of these games. So I think this open Sicilian line is what I'd play against e4. And then the other most common move is what do you play against d4. So here, my recommendation is going to be to start with knight f6. And then most of the time they're going to play into a London system. You're going to see London's a lot towards the lower ELO rating. So bishop f4 is an invitation into the London. And my preference of move here is to hit them with c5. And then you're going to see e3 most of the time as a response. That allows you to either take it with c takes d4, but as you can see in the database, you get a big spike up with queen to b6. So queen b6, this kind of like anti-London system, putting pressure immediately on the b2 pawn. Most of the time, white can actually ignore it. I think the best line is to play knight here and then jump it into b5 and attacking your weak squares. But at this level, you're going to see b3 most common, and that allows you to take the pawn on d4, and after retakes, even if we just stand it here, the most common line going through is after knight c6 you're winning 65% of the game. So this is a really solid way of what to play against d4.